My prayer in particular is titled When a Parent Returns to God. And it's based upon me dealing with the transition of my mother. It was very painful. I knew that the only thing I could do was lean and depend on him. And from there, I had to draw from scriptures. I had to draw from what had been poured into me concerning the word of God and concerning his promises. But prayer and understanding who I am in him and understanding that we are spirits and we possess a soul, which is our thinker, our mind, and we live in physical bodies. And according to the word of God, to be absent from the body, to be present with the Lord. So that gave me the confidence and the comfort that I needed in knowing that I will see her again. I will.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Sip and Read with Martinique. I'm your host, Martinique Brown. I'm so excited that you have decided to tune into the show today. So, guys, we've been talking about Gene Simmons' book, Me Incorporated. Now, this book is actually teaching us how we can actually brand ourselves. So these are for this book is really good for entrepreneurs and business owners. But I just feel like the stories that Gene teaches us and the principles that he teaches us, we can really just implement it in our life, regardless if we work for the man or if we have our own business. So I'm excited about this. Now, today we're talking about chapters 9 through 11. And this might be your first time ever watching the show. And so you might be thinking, how in the world am I going to catch up with chapters 1 through 8? My YouTube channel link is in the description box, and you can actually catch up on all of the previous chapters on there. So you guys might be wondering, why are you smiling so much? I'm smiling so much because I was wondering for the longest, like, why is my lens so blurry? And so I cleaned it, and it's nice and clear. I hope it's nice and clear for you guys that's actually watching the show as well. If you truly enjoy these shows, make sure you go ahead and visit my GoFundMe page as well as my PayPal link, and you can give a financial gift in any amount that will be such a blessing to me. And those links are in the description box. Also, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. And if we're not friends already here on Facebook, make sure that you go ahead and send me a friend request so that you will be notified when I post new shows and when I'm looking for individuals for the different projects that I have. Another reason why I'm smiling so much is because look what I received in the mail today. This is our new book that will be starting next month, August 20th. So the name of this book is How Blacks Can Unite as One, and the author is Daniel Jones. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this book, make sure you go to the description box, and the purchase link is right there under his name. I'm so excited to start this book. This is going to be a good book, y'all. So make sure you get your book so that we can have a discussion about it. It's going to be good. And don't let the name fool you. You don't have to be black to purchase the book. You can be any race, so you can, just help us to unite as one. So if you're tuning into the show right now, say what's up, Martinique. Let me know that you're in the house. Also, the way that we make this show a lot more interactive is when you post your questions and comments in the comment field. Now, if you're watching this from a different page other than Martinique Y Brown. You have to come over to my page and post your questions and comments because that's the only way that I'll be able to see them. So let me see. Just say hi, Becky. I hope you are well. So you all, Becky, she is an author and she is going to be on this show, Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. Also, Becky, you can go ahead and put your book link in the comment field and they can know more about you. She's going to be on the show in August. So that's why I said that's why you have to make sure you go ahead and follow my Facebook page so that you'll be notified when Becky and other authors like herself are on Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. And another question that authors may be wondering is, how in the world can I get my book featured like Daniel is? You can just simply send me a message on Facebook. Send me a message, like just DM me and just let me know that you're an author and you would like additional information how you can have your book featured on the show. And then I'll send you that information. So let's get started. So chapter 9. In chapter 9, Gene is actually, he subtitled this chapter, I Am an Entrepreneur. So Gene starts this chapter with pointing out that he is a successful entrepreneur. Gene, we knew that already. He doesn't mention this in his book, but June, when I first started, when I started reading this book for Sip and Read, I wanted to look up Gene's net worth. So Gene's net worth is over $350 million. So Gene, we know that you're a successful entrepreneur. That's why we're reading your book. So he said that he wants to point out that he's a successful entrepreneur, but has been unqualified to be in any of his business ventures. And I want you all to hear that part. You know, he said that he was unqualified. So that's what he talks about throughout this chapter. He actually says that he had to invent himself out of thin air. He then lists off the different ventures and talks about being self-taught for all of them. So some of the business ventures that he mentions are creating Kiss Band, playing instruments and writing songs for Kiss and other singers and bands. So now, if you haven't seen the other episodes of the previous chapter, Gene, he didn't know how to write music. He was not professionally taught. He didn't go to school for it. He also did not know how to play the guitar, and he taught himself, you know, these things. That's why this is a good book. And he launched his own record company. He's the manager of different famous artists. He acts in motion pictures and on TV, and he's pointing these things out to let you know that he was unqualified for all of these things, but he just went ahead and did it, you know, because he said, I want to do it, I'm gonna try it, and I'm doing it. And I really just like that mentality, you know, of Gene. And he actually co-produced a TV show for Nickelodeon, movies, and his own reality show called Gene Simmons Family Jewels. And like I said, the list goes on and on for Gene. And he ends the list with saying, background or experience doing X, Y, and Z is none. So don't let that discourage you when you're interested in pursuing something, but you don't have, you know, that education in it, or you're unqualified, because Gene's mentality is you can't blame anybody but yourself if you don't educate yourself on how to do something. And so in Gene's earlier life, you know, growing up days, he truly enjoyed going to the library. And that's why I feel like the library is such a great resource. Now, if you all don't know my story, I have moved around a lot. When I purchased my car back in 2016, you know, the car dealer, he said, oh, you know, because he had to pull up my license and I had to give him my license and things like that so we can go on the test drive. And he saw that I lived in a lot of different states, and he said, "Oh, were you in the military?" I'm like, "No," but all that to say is, every time I move to a different place, I get a library card. I love the library. You see this right here? Library. So this is a library book. So you can't have any excuses of why, you don't educate yourself. If you don't know how to read, guess where you can go? The library. The library has so many different resources that we can utilize. And then there's audiobooks as well. As you're learning how to read, you can listen to the audiobooks as well. So there's no excuses. I think the major thing is um, just making time to educate yourself. So Gene is ultimately the jack of all trade and is successful in these things, in the things that he touches. Now, I don't want to make it sound like, Gene doesn't talk about anything he's failed at, because he does say that. He does um, point out that he has failed in different things. He did want to start a movie about, something else, but it didn't work out. And so, I just think that sometimes, and Gene talks about this also, sometimes we allow failure to um, to paralyze us in that we don't even try something at all, or maybe even looking stupid. I think that's another thing that another hindrance, or something that we just tell ourselves, oh, that's dumb, or it will never work out. But how many times are you willing to fail to actually figure out what works? Because it's not always going to work, but you just have to have that perseverance, that this next time is going to work. And I always feel like you have to be kind of crazy, because you're trying different things and nothing has worked, but you keep saying to yourself, this next one is going to work. But that's why it's so good to listen to different podcasts, because to me, I listen to this podcast called Side Hustle Pro. That podcast is just so encouraging, because the host, she has different individuals on there that talks about their journey at the very beginning of their side hustle, and how they struggled and failed and had successes and things like that. And I need to hear stories like that on a daily basis to keep me motivated. But anywho, so I wasn't going to mention of um, any other ventures that Gene had um, tried out. But as I continued to read that chapter, um, they were just worth noting in what he said. So he was the co-founding partner of a life equity strategy entity. He's the co-founding partner with the language translator company. He's also the co-founder of a marketing company that he helped to create the marketing campaign for the Indy 500. And something else that Gene mentioned that I really wanted to read to you all is, this is what Gene says. He says, I knew I could do anything. People told me I couldn't because you're just a musician. Well, I was until I wasn't. Every CEO starts out without any qualifications. Do y'all hear that part? He says that every CEO starts out without any qualifications. Then they jump in the deep end and start swimming. It's the way I've always lived. It doesn't matter the task. If you're not qualified, you can become qualified. If you have never done it before, you can do it a first time, and then a second time, you can do it. Do you guys really believe that though? Because I think sometimes we'll listen to people and say, oh, you can do this. All you got to do is such and such. All you got to do is this, that, and the other. but do we truly believe it? And I think one of the things that I've learned just with my business, being an entrepreneur, is until you do it, then that's when you figure out what works and what doesn't work. And that's when you become better at it. So I think it's kind of amusing to me sometimes when I'm talking to a potential guest for one of my shows, and they'll say, well, what do you think? I know you're the expert. You're the expert in it. And I'll be thinking, I'm not the expert, but I have to begin to accept that title because I'm the one that's continuously doing this on a daily basis. And so I think that we have to begin to accept that we are learning and becoming better and becoming an expert at what we're doing. Even if you didn't receive that formal education training on it, experience is so important. Just like when we look at job descriptions, it is say you need to have, let's say, an accounting degree or 5 years of experience in accounting. So experience matters. And so that's why it's so important. If you're interested in pursuing something, you have to go ahead and try it, and not so much give up when it doesn't work, but maybe there's some things that you can begin to tweak to find out how to make this part of the business work. And it's honestly, just a learning experience, but you have to start. You have to start. You got to jump in. Like Jean says, you got to just go ahead and jump in the deep end, and you'll figure out the other things as you move along with it.
My prayer in particular is titled When a Parent Returns to God. And it's based upon me dealing with the transition of my mother. It was very painful. I knew that the only thing I could do was lean and depend on him. Mm-hmm. And from there, I had to draw from scriptures. I had to draw from what had been poured into me concerning the word of God and concerning his promises. But prayer and understanding who I am in him, and understanding that we are spirits and we possess a soul, which is our thinker, our mind, and we live in physical bodies. And according to the word of God, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Mm-hmm. So that gave me the confidence and the comfort that I needed in knowing that I will see her again. I will.
So, so Jean eventually partnered with a group called Stronoff Group. I'm probably messing up that name. And this company owns most of North America's major horse racing track. Jean noticed that horse racing was widely referred to as the sport of kings. I just love this part. So then Jean did some research, and he determined no one owned that phrase. No one owned the phrase, the sport of kings. So he quietly trademarked the sport of kings, like quote or whatever slogan. He trademarked it, and now it's the Stronoff Group's own phrase, the sport of kings. I just think that is so genius. It's like, I don't know. This man is just so smart, and I just love the fact that he just goes for it. I like that. And I just hope to begin to live my professional life like that. Just go for it. There's many things that I want to pursue as a professional, and I cannot allow anything to stop me. So that's why I'm just going for it, So that's why I just want to present these books to you all that has really just encouraged me and helped me and really just motivate you to read these books or even purchase these books, so that you can keep them on your bookshelves, just as those resources and those reminders that you can do it, but you just have to start. You just got to start from somewhere. So another thing that I want to read to you guys in this chapter is just coming from page 68. So he actually closes this chapter by saying, but don't let the fear of failure keep you from trying in the first place. Most baseball swings sounds like this: swoosh. But if you swing enough, you will hit some of the balls. And I want to let you all know something about my business. So every week when I do the show, I actually email all of the authors that I've connected with, as well as individuals that said that they're interested in um, possibly featuring their book, or individuals that just said, I want to be a part of the book club. Just notify me when the show airs. And I'm like, okay. So every week, and if you've been following all the books that I've been reading, I've been doing this for maybe 5, 6 months now. Okay. And I email people, and I typically never get any responses back, And sometimes you just wonder, does these emails even work? Do people do people even read these emails? And so it has just recently, like last week, is when I got my first author that said that they were interested in featuring their book. And I'm like, that is so good. That's why I'm just like, you cannot give up on the things that will work, but maybe it has not worked for you yet. So don't give up. Just don't give up. Take it from me. I know it seems like your work is in vain, but it's not. You just got to keep going and keep going, because then you will receive the harvest, of all that work you've been putting in. And I'm telling you, it's just such a blessing, um, to see just the fruit, or the fruition of the things that you've been doing. And I'm just like, all I can do is just thank God, for it. And I do have to ask him, I do have to ask God, for strength, because you all may know that as I'm pursuing growing my business and things like that, it's not making me enough money to pay all my bills. So I'm driving for Uber, and you get tired, because if you're doing, and a lot of you are doing this, you're working your full-time job, and you're also trying to get your own business off the ground. And so it's tiring. But you know I have to ask God for strength. And I'm just like, that's one thing that you're not going to be able to tell my Martinique, is she didn't try. So I have to try. I have to get that energy, from somewhere. And the only strength that I have just comes from God. So chapter 10. So chapter 10 is entitled Gene Simmons Family Jewels. Now, if you guys really didn't know about Gene Simmons, he is one of the band members of the famous rock band named Kiss. So A&E actually made a reality show about him, and he actually brought that show to A&E. So with the reality show, it lasted for 167 episodes and for 7 seasons. So the show was doing really good. And I actually watched like one or two episodes of the show, I was first introduced to Gene really when he was on The Apprentice, and I really still didn't. I still wasn't in awe of his business acumen or anything like that. But it wasn't until I read this book that I really recognized how business savvy he was. And so Gene actually talks about how the airing of the show helped him see his true colors. He says he was ashamed of the person he actually saw on the show. So the things that helped him get ahead in the business world, like doing what he wanted to do in his family life, that type of attitude really put a strain on his relationships with his family. And he actually showed everything on the show, from his facelift to, just his wandering eye, of other women. Shannon, and that was his longtime girlfriend, and now she's his wife. But they showed everything on that show. Just the heartbreak that she experienced from the way that Gene was treating her, and um, Gene says that the show really just saved his family. And after 28 years of dating Shannon, he finally married her, and they've been married for 6.5 years. So that's what Gene really talks about in chapter 10, how the show really just helped him, along with um, really knowing throughout his business ventures, but really knowing what's important and how to put those people that supported him through all these years, how to really have those healthy relationships. So he talks about, just learning a balance in it all, but he really just gives those accolades to the show because he was able to watch his show and said, man, I was really a jerk on that show. And so, chapter 11. So, like I said, these chapters in this book is not long. And that's one thing I really like about this book, um, because I feel like sometimes when authors write books, they try to drag out these chapters. Don't make the book long for me. I need to read something that I'll get some solid information, and just tell me the basics. I mean, not even, don't just, say all the just basics, but I don't need all this fluff. Just tell me what I need to learn from this chapter and move on to the next chapter. That's the one. That's another thing I really like about this book. He just gets straight to the point and just moves on to the next chapter. So, like I said, chapter 11 is philanthropy and giving back. So, Gene opens up this chapter by saying, once you start making big money, don't forget to give back. He says, take your money and create new jobs. This can also be done by investing in new ventures that creates jobs. I want to make money like that. But I think one of the things that I was thinking about was, what if you don't make in your lifetime big money like that? You can still give back. So, I don't want somebody to watch this and say, oh man, when I get to start making such and such amount of money, then that's when I'll start helping people. No, you can actually help people now, and so that's one of the things that I wanted to throw in, with that. He also shares how for over 20 years he supported children from Zimbabwe with the organization called Child Fund, and how him and another partner created mobile hospitals for the residents there. So he says that his takeaway is the biggest achievement for him is to help another human being. What do you feel like your biggest achievement and takeaway is, with the things in your life right now? So that's the question I want to throw out on the table for you guys. So Gene talks about the other organization he supports and says he makes an effort to give to those who have no other option. And that's one of the things that I've learned just from talking to people from different countries. And I think the thing is, so I'm going to be specific. So I was talking to this guy that I met online, and he lives in Africa. And so I just think that being able to talk to him just about his daily, his everyday life really just helped me to see how different America is from, a third world country. And it's not so much a matter of, oh, I feel sorry for them, but it's a different way of life. It's a different mindset. And so what Jean is saying is, everybody is not, everybody does not live in America. So what can you do to help someone in a different country, and help them to achieve the goals that they're striving, for, or not even, goals with his mobile hospital, just those necessities that people need. How could he help somebody, with getting well enough to continue to work? Things like that, because he mentioned how if a person is sick, how long it would take them to walk to a hospital. So that's why he brought the mobility, idea to like a hospital on wheels, for the people in Zimbabwe. So I just thought that that was a great idea, and so I think that we have to just look at how we can begin to help others with the things that we're blessed with. And so, and it doesn't even have to be somebody in a different country. It can be somebody that right here. So another organization that Jean supports is a micro bank called Kiva. And I just encourage you guys to look up this organization. So it's spelled KIVA.org, and just learn more about it and see if it's an organization that you would like to support. So we just finished part 1. That chapters 1 through 11 was part 1, and it was entitled Me. So make sure that you tune in next week, because we're going to be starting part 2, and it's called You. So, like I said, make sure you tune in next week so that you can begin to learn how you can start branding yourself. Like I said, I got this book from my library. If you want to purchase this book, you can purchase it on Amazon.com. Make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will learn about the show as well as learn about the book. Also, another thing that I need you to do is make sure you go visit the description link so that you can start reading up on our next book feature called How Blacks Can Unite as One. And this is by author Daniel L. Jones. I'm so excited to start reading this book. So make sure you go to the description box so that you can click on that link so you can purchase the book and you can start reading the book so that we can discuss the book. I'm going to start featuring that book August 20th. If you truly enjoy the shows that I produce, make sure you go ahead and visit my GoFundMe page as well as my PayPal, and you can give a financial gift in any amount. That would be such a blessing to me. As well, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm growing, y'all. It's growing. I used to have 0. Now I have 190 subscribers. I'm so excited. And I just thank all of you guys that have already subscribed to my YouTube channel. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram and send me a friend request so you can be notified of all the different shows. If you guys have not been having a great day already, I hope that you guys have a great day for the remainder of the day. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.